Well, we're very excited to start first ever graduation that's on Zoom. And it's a historic moment. We're not in our building, but what's really special is that we have so many guests here from across the United States, maybe from other countries too, who knows? And we're very excited for all of you to be here. And we're gonna start with a Dvar Torah and the reading of the Rebbe's letter to the graduates by Rabbi Rubin.
Okay, where's the letter?
First, give it there. Let me find it.
Good evening. This is indeed a very historic moment that we are able to continue this tradition of graduations from many years, and it represents the culmination of many years of hard work by the graduating girls. And specifically, I would like to mention something that will appear in the video later on, that I had a special mission to fulfill with the learning of Talmud with this class. These three girls were part of a bigger group of combined girls from other classes in high school, and we learned about 10 or 12 blot pages of Talmud. The Rebbe in 1972, 1971, the Rebbe's office told me to teach Talmud to girls. This was a revolutionary thing that not everyone was able to accomplish. And I did this by learning with them Perkei Ein Yaakov, selections of Agadata in the various Masechtas, specifically Masechta Brachos. I also want to add from a statement of Pirkei Avos, Minayin Shafilu Shlosha, that there's a countdown that starts off with 10, and we did have 10, 12 girls in our original group. And Minayin Shafilu Shlosha, how do we know that Shechina is Shoira, the Shechina rests among these fine, distinguished girls who are graduating today? Shenemar B'Kerev Elokim Yishbait, that God is there. Uminayin Shafilu Echad, even if we're only one, we're not even three together in the same room, we're three together by Zoom. This itself, the Pirkei Avos envisioned that you can have afilu shlosha and you can have afilu echad, both three and both one each at the same time. And I must say, of all the girls who were in that group, of our original Talmud group, and of these specifically three girls who are graduating tonight, that I am very, very respectful, very honored and privileged to have learned Talmud with them. They were a very dynamic group, very lively, very interested in what we were learning, and they asked questions, and they were able to follow on their own on the page of Talmud. So the page of Talmud may not be their focus of study from all time, but it does give them a familiarity of knowing what Talmud is, and this is what the Rebbe wanted. They should learn certainly the Pnimius HaTorah. The Alter Rebbe, the Shneur Zalman, calls the learning of Ein Yaakov, the Agadata of the Gemara, the Pnimius Shabbat. And so I wish you a lot of Mazel Tov and congratulations, and may you go with this strength later on in life. It will certainly be a great enrichment and help in many areas that you will have, to have this background of Talmud specifically, and in general, Maimonides in general, a very well-balanced, beautiful blend of Torah and worldly experience.
Where's that?
Where's the Rebbe's letter? Leigh.
I didn't get it. I thought I did. Let's see, I'll look and roll it.
Lay, do you have the Rebbe's letter that you can email me?
Oh, here it is.
Okay. I have the honor of reading the Rebbe's letter, correspondence by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Schneerson. In conjunction with your graduation, I hereby send my greetings and blessings to the graduating students and to all participants in this Torah celebration. As emphasized on many previous occasions, I hope that the graduation celebration will serve as a preparation and a beginning for a higher level of studying Torah and fulfilling mitzvahs. For this is the true content of a Torah graduation in general and a yeshiva graduation in particular. The seder of this week, which was last week, when you will kindle the lights, begins with the precept that Moshe was commanded to teach Aaron the Kohen, namely, to kindle the lights of the menorah in the Mishkan sanctuary and in the Beis Hamikdash. It was not sufficient for Aaron merely to apply the flame to the wicks. It was an integral part of the mitzvah for him to continue holding the kindling flame, the new wick, until it caught properly and the newly kindled flame was flickering upwards on its own. Torah is eternal, immortal. All its teachings are eternal, not limited by time and place. It is therefore quite clear that in a deeper sense, the command to kindle the lights is relevant to every Jew in all times and all places. Hasidic philosophy explains that the soul, which is literally part of God above, is the divine light or candle, and every Jew is in a sense a Kohen, for God called all of Israel a kingdom of priests. It is the obligation and merit of each of one of us to kindle his own light, neshama and soul, with the illumination of Torah and mitzvahs, as King Solomon declares, for a mitzvah is a candle and Torah is light. It is also our responsibility to kindle the neshama light of every Jew we can possibly reach, who for various reasons might still be in the dark, whose soul might not be yet shining as the neshama should. I hope that as students, you will always remember that you must be a light to shed light. Brightly burning lights who must also kindle and illuminate others. You have the additional obligation to disseminate the light of Torah and mitzvahs with enthusiasm and liveliness, as commanded by the precept, love your fellow as yourself. May the Almighty grant you great success in the above, and may He bring you blessing and success in all of your own affairs and endeavors. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Welcome. It's a very interesting time to have a graduation on a Zoom, and I'm fortunate enough to know I've had some experience with Zoom, so it's not my first time on Zoom. My classes were on Zoom. I want to congratulate the three lovely graduates. Some of you I know from a long time ago, and I want to say a little thing about each girl, if I may now. So we have Goldie Kochman is graduating, and I could find things from Pirkei Avos to shed some light on what I think this girl is about. And Goldie is a very humble girl, and she learns from everyone. So the Pirkei Avos, Ben Zoma says in chapter 4, Ezehu chacham halomed mikol adam. Who is wise, he learns from everyone. And I think that typifies Goldie. She's not a know-it-all. She likes to learn from everyone. I think that's a beautiful trait. And you will go on in life. And if you learn from everyone, you'll be very, very wise. That's about Goldie. Now, Chaya came to us in the 9th grade, and she won us over very quickly. Chaya is, I would say, what Hillel says, "B'mkom she'ein anashim, hishtadel yosish." When there's nobody to step up to the plate, then you do it. And we have a lot of experience with Chaya with this. I get a call in the morning, a teacher's not coming in. I run in the high school. Who can save me? I need a teacher. I need a math teacher. I need whatever. I need a history teacher. Oh, I'll do it. I'll do it. No problem. Then in the middle of the year, we had a bigger crisis. We lost a teacher. A teacher left in the middle of the year, and we needed a math teacher for 4th grade. Oh, I think I can work that out. Oh, I'll do it. So Chaya is really the go-to person whenever you need something done or a substitute. She's more than willing. Oh, 2 periods? Oh, I could do 2 periods. I can teach. Oh, I can make up the work. It's not a problem. Certainly. And too bad that Chaya, that we had to be abruptly cut off with the corona, and then Chaya did Zoom on or Google Classroom from Texas. So I think that's a very apt, appropriate phrase for Chaya. Then Sarah Rubin, she's been with us all these years, of course, and likes to do a very meticulous job and get her work done and have her T's crossed and her I's dotted, and everything has to be correct. And she is also there to help us out when we have issues or need help. So I think the phrase for her is from Rabbi Meir, Nehenin mimena etza v'tushia, that we get advice from her. She gives us tips. We don't always want to hear exactly, but she gives us a lot of tips and advice. And I think that typifies Sarah. So our girls are varied, everyone has their own qualities. And one outstanding thing that ties all the 3 girls together is that they didn't mind being with the younger students, 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders even, and they were very fine role models. And they were not snobby or felt that they were shortchanged because they were with other children. The strand of 3 can never be broken. I wish you all tons of luck, bracha and atzlacha, and a lot of learning. Learning never ends.
Okay, thank you so much, Rabbi Reuben and Mar Rachel. Mar Rachel was supposed to really say those beautiful things when she gave out the diplomas, but now she's going to have to think of something else to say when she gives out the diplomas because of our technical difficulties, but that's okay, I'm just joking. Okay, so we heard beautiful blessings from the Rebbe's letter, and God willing, Emir Hashem, all the blessings should come upon our graduates and all of us. And now, whatever, this is our highlight of the evening. We're going to hear from our graduates, and we've all been waiting to hear from them, and we hope they're ready. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So Mo Rivi, please, is going to put up something on the screen, and we're going to call up our first graduate, Goldie Kochman. So Goldie, give it a minute.
I need access to share my screen. Oh, okay.
Okay, Goldie Kochman, you are up.
Ruta?
Should I start?
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to start by thanking everyone who has helped me get to where I am today. Thank you, Rabbi and Mora Rachum Rubin, for creating a wonderful school. Thank you, Morley, our principal, who has helped me with so much along the way, big and small. Thank you to my parents, my dear classmates, and all the teachers for putting up with my craziness. I have been in Maimonides for 15 years, and the number 15 is a special number. And on the 15th day of the month is when the moon shines at its brightest, revealing light. And in light of that, I will now share this acrostic poem of memories that will light me along the way. Maimonides Lag BaOmer Parade. Every year when Lag BaOmer was not on a Sunday, Rabbi Rubin and others would organize a parade, and we would march all the way down to Washington Park, or sometimes even the Capitol. We had banners and police escorts and even police on horses. Auction. During Hanukkah, there is a fundraiser for our school, and we would help set up for the event in many different ways. Ingenious trips with Rabbi Mendel. There was one in particular that was my favorite.
I think we lost you, Goldie.
Many friendships. Even though Maimonides is a small, should I keep going?
Goldie, go back a little bit. Go back a little bit so that we can hear what we missed. Okay.
What?
After auction.
Auction? After auction? Okay. Ingenious trips with Rabbi Mendel. There was one in particular that was my favorite. My class and I had went to downtown Albany with Rabbi Mendel to look at the murals that people had painted, and we had to guess what it was and how it related to us. Many friendships. Even though Maimonides is a small school, the friends you make here are friends for life. Out of this world experiences. We had a quote, only at Maimonides, because we did so many unconventional things that no other school would ever do. Maimonides believes that sitting at a desk is not the only way to learn, but that you could go out and be engaged in the learning. Nail polish. If you know, you know. Iconic Tu B'Shvat breakfast. Every year for Tu B'Shvat, the school would have a breakfast including fruity cereals, fruit and nut platters, carob, and of course, interactive learning about Tu B'Shvat. And speaking of iconic, Tu B'Shvat is connected to the 15th day, as in my years on Maimonides is also 15 years. Delicious pizza. Pizza night was our way of fundraising for our class's end of the year trip, which was always a blast. End of the year trip. At the end of each year, our high school class went on a trip. One year and love throughout the years. I know I could not have done this without you. I know our friendship will never end. Thank you all for the amazing opportunities I've had in Maimonides. It's been real.
Wow, thank you, Goldie, for all those memories. I don't know the nail polish joke, but you'll tell it to me. Okay, and now we are up for our second graduate, and Chaya Lazarev is zooming in with us all the way from Houston, Texas. Mazel tov, Chaya. We're excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay, good evening, everyone. 4 years ago, I joined Bnos Chaya High School. I would never have dreamed 4 years ago, or even 4 months ago, that we would be celebrating our graduation virtually. There is so much to share about my high school experience, I don't know where to begin. Bnos Chaya and the Albany Jewish community is a very special place. As a student from out of town, it has been like I was born and raised right in town. There was never a moment that I was made to feel like an outsider. 4 years ago, I was immediately welcomed into the community by everyone. However, this is not something novel. Bnos Chaya students and teachers are really part of one big family. Whether they're there for years or just for high school, every student is really an integral part of everything. Even some of the young children from Maimonides until today do not realize I am not from Albany. This does not happen on its own. This is a tribute to the special quality of the warm mentality of all of the school staff and the Albany Jewish community. Some of you may know that Razy Rubin is my mother's sister. I came to Albany for high school and got to live with my family at the Shabbos house. Little did I know that I would acquire a huge honorary family of the Rubins, the Rubins, the Rubins, the Rubins, and the Matlases. They all treated me like family. Every one of them has made me an honorary family member. This became obvious the first week that I was in Albany. I did not know any of the family members, and there was some sort of family function at the home of the grandparents, Rabbi Rubin and Mora Rachel. Rabbi Mendel and Razy asked me if I wanted to go, and I said I would rather want to stay home, do laundry, and have a quiet night to myself in my room. 20 minutes before they planned to leave, Simi Rubin called to make sure that I was going to be at the party. A few minutes later, Mora Rachel called to make sure that I was coming too. It was very special to know that I was going to be included and part of the family. Not only did I learn the power of a warm community, I also gained life lessons among a wealth of knowledge. Bnos Chaya's uncompromising education in general and Jewish studies has given me the tools to go on in life to achieve many great things. The school is like family, involving students in so many ways with each other. Any day, a student can be found being a secretary for a day or helping a teacher in the classroom. This year, I found myself actually teaching 4th grade. This experience definitely gave me a greater appreciation for how teachers feel, how every student learns in different ways, and the effort that is needed to make sure every student understands the topic. All the teachers at Bnos Chaya are amazing, and after interning to be a teacher myself, I realized this even more so. All of these experiences have taught me to take responsibility when needed to. School is not only a place to gain knowledge, it has been a place to learn lessons for living life. For example, the synthesis curriculum allowed us to learn concepts from Tanya in a new way and helped bring it down into reality. It took the philosophical concept and allowed me to see it in a different light. In general studies, this year's personal financing prepared us for the future. Real life skills from buying a house to a car, to budgets, and to so many more things. Similarly, so many subjects were always kept interesting, challenging, and valuable. To my classmates, there are so many great memories of our times together. Thank you for being such great friends and lifelong COVID grad sisters. Some of the best memories are the never-ending pizza night fundraisers, after-school Mishmar programs, the Lag B'Omer parades to the park, and the Albany unique and memorable Tu B'Shvat breakfasts. Who can forget the end-of-the-year trips to Cape Cod, Deal, New Jersey, and Rhode Island, and this year's trip to the Zoom? Thank you to all the Rubins for accepting me with open arms. Thank you, Bnos Chaya, for the amazing education that I got to have while I was in high school. Thank you to my friends and classmates for always being there and all the memorable times together. Our class will never be forgotten, and I will never forget any of you. We are the historic Bnos Chaya graduation class of 2020. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Chaya. It is really amazing that we could hear you speak from so far away, but it's the same amazing that we hear everybody because everybody's on Zoom, right? Yes, that is a really important perspective, and we should all remember all of those. Yes, it really is amazing what you just said. And now, last but not least, let's go on to Sarah Rubin.
Okay. All right. One of the things that many people know about me is my.
Sorry, wait 1 second so you could be the speaker view so that we could see.
Okay.
You. Okay. Now.
One of the things that many people know about me is my distinct handwriting. I'm also interested in calligraphy and lettering. Nowadays, people might think that there is no need for nice or decorative handwriting when there are so many computers or other technology with so many fonts to choose from. But for some reason, I'm still into my handwriting. Oftentimes, people joke that I should turn my handwriting into a font. While I may not actually turn it into a font, I thought I might as well turn it into my graduation speech. Actually, I'm not the first to speak about lettering in a graduation speech. In 2005, Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple Computers, spoke at a Stanford University graduation. One of his big themes was how he first learned about lettering in a calligraphy class. He spoke about how this shaped his enthusiasm for fonts and how it became a familiar part of the computers we know today. Steve Jobs spoke about the white space or the negative space surrounding the letters. This is actually a big deal in the laws of Sophros, or writing a Torah scroll. The Talmud says that each and every letter in the Torah scroll has to be surrounded by white space. School can also be seen in black and white. The black letters are the information or the text that I have studied all throughout my years. And the white letters is the space, is the context, the atmosphere, and the setting. Another lesson I've learned from the white space surrounding the letters is to see each student individually. Being in a small school really highlights each individual student in their own way. Another important factor in how fonts look is something called kerning, which is the adjustment of space between the letters themselves. This is really important since sometimes we need our personal space and other times it is better when we are closer together. My friends and I have really been there for each other, but also gave each other room to grow. The simplest two categories of font families are divided between serif and sans serif. The difference is slight, but it has a huge effect. Serif fonts have small decorative features that add elegance and also make it easier for the eye to flip from one letter to the next. Sans serif fonts do not have these extra features, but the letters are crisper, simpler, and usually more modern looking. Each font style has its benefits and uses, but in terms of a school analogy, sometimes less is more, and crisper is better. But in other areas, it is richer when ideas connect and flow into one another. As we know, connections are an important focus at Maimonides. Nowadays, you can buy pens with either a fine point or a broader tip, but a really good quality pen has the ability to smoothly transition between both fine strokes and thicker strokes depending on how you hold it and how you use it. At Maimonides, the classroom discussions can seamlessly transition between focus and detail to broader and more abstract. I really appreciate that this school is a mix of both, since if it would be all text or fine print, I would not be able to handle it. So I'm grateful for the balanced mix of thick and thin throughout my education. Speaking of thick and thin, Goldie and Chaya have really been there for me through thick and thin from the start of high school. When using fonts after a while, some of them become your favorite and your go-to fonts. So you become familiar with repeated use and you get comfortable working with them. Same is true with many of my teachers over the years. Some I have had for many years. You know how to read me and I have learned your style. We can almost finish each other's sentences. At Maimonides, there's a special closeness between teachers and students. Although my handwriting interest may be pen on paper, there is another form of lettering that I would like to share about. In the 1940s, two young Chabad rabbis were traveling to visit Jews in different places. They once visited a man named Mr. Listener in Chicago. He was curious about their traveling mission. They explained using an analogy that every Jew is a letter in the Torah scroll. It used to be a custom that traveling scribes would go visit towns and villages to inspect the Torah scrolls and repair letters that needed fixing. When the previous Rebbe heard this analogy, he corrected them. He explained that each person is like an engraved letter in the Ten Commandments. Engraving is different than ink on parchment. Ink sits on top of the parchment and does not become part of it, which is why it can fade, crack, or even disappear. But engraved letters become part of the stone itself. They are always there even if they get covered up or hidden from view. One of the special things about Maimonides education is that it's not just ink on parchment. It becomes part of who we are and is something that I will always take with me. I have been at Maimonides since nursery, so there are so many people to thank. I would like to thank all my teachers from throughout my years. You literally taught me the Hebrew and English alphabet, learning how to read and write, all the way up to essay writing and note-taking, and everything in between. Thank you to my friends, some of which have been with me in elementary school, some during high school, and especially Goldie, like a constant and dependable font who has been with me all throughout. To Rabbi Reuben, Mor Rachel, and Mor Lehi, thank you for being true examples of engraved letters and imprinting so much on each of us. As you might know, fonts come in typeface families. Each family is made up of font sets that have a lot in common, even as they have their own unique style. So last but not least, thank you to my family, my parents and my siblings for all that we have in common and all that we still have our own font. I'm grateful that Maimonides has shown me the power of my own handwriting.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Your speech about fonts and lettering actually reminds me about something really special about today's Hebrew date. It actually also is connected with what's going to happen next, which is the presenting of diplomas virtually. So let me tell you, maybe some of you know that the date, Chaf Gimel Sivan, is actually a date that's recorded in Tanakh. It is the date that in times of Haman, and Mordechai and Esther, after Haman was already hung, Mordechai and Esther were trying to figure out what to do with a decree that was still standing. And they had this decree looming over them. And they went to the king, and the king said, Achashverosh said, he can't take away the decree that was sealed with the seal of a king, right, with the signet ring. But what you could do is, you can write new scrolls, and you can put, and I will give you the signet ring to be able to have that validity, and you can send it out to 127 provinces. And so it was on this day of Chaf Gimel Sivan that it says that this is the day that Mordechai commanded. Here, I have it, I found it right here. Let's see. The Megillah says that on this day, 23rd of Sivan, after the hanging of Haman, the Yikaru Sofer HaMelech, the scribes of the king were called, and they wrote whatever Mordechai commanded. And this was the day that the scribes started writing down all the things. So it's really connected with the fonts and the lettering and the scrolls. And it also connects with our diplomas, because even though our diploma is just, it's Maimonides, it's Bnos Chaya, but it does have a seal on it. And the seal represents a lot of important things, probably represents maybe even more than Achashverosh's seal. It has in it the seal of Torah, it has in it the seal of Maimonides, which is a beautiful blend of Torah and technology. And world experience. It has in it the seal of New York State, which is all the education that we just learned. So we have our diplomas coming up, and we have the scrolls of Haman. And I just want to read to you a quote from the Rebbe. The Rebbe said on this day, special thing about this day, he says, on this day, the 23rd of Sivan, every Jew, even though they are in Galus, as Mordechai was, and even though there is a darkness, as there was during the decree of Haman, nevertheless, every Jew has the power to accomplish what he wants, the same way Mordechai accomplished. We can request what we want, and our will be granted by Hashem himself on this day. So as the world shakes from one event after the next, the Rebbe's holy words still reverberate today, and maybe even more than ever. And may we utilize this special day to daven for everything that we need, especially the coming of Mashiach. So that was something that we found that has to do with this day, and now I see it has to do with Sarah's speech, and it has to do with diplomas that you're all going to receive now. So without further ado, let's have Mor Rachel present the diplomas to our dear graduates.
Okay, this is how it looks scrolled up, like the scroll that the people of Persia, when they did the new scroll, the new edict. We read this week the Parsha of Shlach, sending out, the Moshe was sending out scouts to see the land of Israel, and we are all on a mission. Everyone is on a mission, and I want to wish you a lot of success on your mission. Once you know your mission statement or what your mission is, then it's easier to carry out your mission. It's not simple, but you have that with you. So I'd like to give the first diploma to Goldie This is your Regent's diploma and the Maimonides diploma, the Maimonides Bnos Chaya diploma. And now,
Can you, Rabbi Mendel, can you unmute Goldie so we can see her in the speaker view?
and yeah, she could show us the diploma. We mailed them to the students and gave them out before the graduation, so they would have them.
There we go. Mazel tov, Goldie.
Thank you.
So, Baruch Hashem, we also gave the students a graduation gift, a leather-bound chitas with their name engraved on it, and that is the daily study of Chumash, Tanya, and Tehillim, and I think that could go with them wherever they go. I wish you lots of bracha and hatzlacha. Goldie, we wish you lots of bracha and hatzlacha in all your future endeavors. And here's the flowers that everything just comes through the computer. You have a flat screen and they get a diploma and they get flowers. Very interesting. We're defying the laws of nature. Mazel tov, Goldie, on this very special milestone. Our next diploma we are giving to Chaya Lazarov, and she is getting her diploma from the Regents, the advanced Regent diploma with high honors, and that's that from the state of New York with the seal of New York State and Maimonides School, and also the Bnos Chaya High School diploma that she completed the coursework. And you are, a good shlucha. I know you're looking towards being doing shlichus next year, working for a Chabad school somewhere and doing some internship or whatever you do. I know you will be very successful. Wish you all the bracha and hatzlacha.
Mazel tov, Chaya.
And the very special parents that agreed to send you far away in a tiny little school. They were very clever. Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Now I am going to the last but not least. So this was by alphabetical order, by the way. And so Sarah, this parsha also talks about challah, about giving challah, and at the beginning, the first of the day, you devote to Modani, Reishis Arisosechem, the first thing from the cradle, from when we wake up, or from when we have little children, we teach them all these, special things. And you indeed make a lot of challah, I guess, for the pizza nights, etc. Besides the fonts. I also like to write, but I don't have that great handwriting, but I do write. I write a lot by hand, and I really appreciated the fonts because I have some fonts that I love in Hebrew. The Raphael font and the Garton font, and the Garton Rashi font, and the Ariel font. So I can appreciate what you said. It was very, very interesting for me. And can you show us your diploma, the Advanced High Honor Regents diploma, and also Bnos Chaya diploma for completing all these years of very hard work. Appreciate that so much. And wish you lots of bracha and hatzlacha in your year in Tzfat, in seminary, in the prestigious Beit Chana seminary, and following your sisters in that seminary as well. Lots of bracha and hatzlacha and mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Sarah. Okay, so these diplomas are well deserved. A lot of hard work, as everybody knows. Now we are going to have special guest speaker all the way from Houston, Texas, Rabbi Chaim Lazarov, who's going to address our graduates and all of us and a message to us all, I guess, in the time of uncertainty. And without further ado, Rabbi Lazarov.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Rubin. Wow, this is a first for Chani and I. When people locally meet me, they often ask me if I grew up in Houston. And I always answer that I was born and raised here, but I haven't grown up yet. So it's hard to believe that Chani and I are now seeing our oldest daughter graduate high school. So I have a question for all of you. Where in Shulchan Aruch, and you can put it in the chat box, where in Shulchan Aruch can you find Hilchos Chinuch, the laws of education? Feel free to write your answers in the chat box. You see, because Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law, has 4 sections. Orach Chaim, it covers the laws of prayer, Shabbos, and daily life. You have Yoredeah, it discusses kosher and mourning, Israel, family purity. You have Even Ezer, it just covers marriage, divorce, issues related to it. Choshen Mishpat covers contracts, monetary disputes, Jewish courts, and witnesses. So what do you think? Which section would have the laws of Chinuch, Hilchos Chinuch? Where can you find the laws of Chinuch? I see some people wrote here, Talmud Torah, Yoredeah. Yes, correct. It does say Hilchos Talmud Torah includes the laws of Chinuch. But there is no section in Shulchan Aruch that actually has a section dedicated to the laws of Chinuch. And why is that? Why would the Shulchan Aruch not include a section that's such a very important part of Jewish life? In the Shema, we recite at least twice daily. We talk about Vishinantam levanecha, you should teach Torah to your children. It's the daily mantra of the Jewish people. And the Shulchan Aruch doesn't have a section that's dedicated specifically to education, to Chinuch. You know why? Because when a law is made, it needs to apply to everyone equally. And however, when it comes to education, there isn't one right way. Education needs to be adapted to the child's reality. Education needs to be adapted to the environment's reality. Not that a teacher wants to teach something in the way that the teacher wants to teach, but the teacher teaches well according to the way the students need to be taught. And every student has their needs. Chanoch l'na'ar al pi darko. Educate the child according to his way. Gam ki yaskin. Because then even when they age, they will not stray from it. You know, in Tomchet Mimim, the Central Chabad Yeshiva system, a great emphasis is made on punctuality and following the standard and protocols of the yeshiva. Now, back in Russia, there was an underground yeshiva. When a student got a knas, a small fine, it wasn't as if the student had anything to pay with. So how did they discipline the students? They would make a punishment of withholding food. The student was forced to skip breakfast. And they would have to skip breakfast. But then later, quietly, after laying down the decision of what will happen to that boy, Rabbi Nachum Lakovsky or Rabbi Jacobson would go over quietly to the students and tell the young man that he should go upstairs to the plainest there, go upstairs to the wife, and she'll make you a preshnitzer. She will make you a scrambled egg. Perhaps they had to discipline the child, discipline the student. You have to take care of what the student needs. This is the care and concern an educator has for their students. But yes, discipline is discipline, but their individual needs to be catered to. You know, it has been some time since Chani and I were both up in Albany, and we were looking forward for another great reason to come visit again together for Chaya's graduation. And yet Hashem obviously had other plans. I mean, who could have known how this school year would end? When we brought Chaya home, we were pretty sure that that was the end of the school year. Effectively, that would be the end of it. Yet we underestimated the tenacity and determination of the school staff. Chaya's classes had resumed on Zoom. Not only the classes that she needed to take, but also the classes that she needed to give. It needs to be adapted, education, to the environment's reality, and the education being adapted to the child's reality. You know, it was a chassid by the name of Chanya Merazov. He was looking for a teacher for his daughters, for his children. His sons were not so old yet, but his daughters needed to be taught, what does it mean to be a Jewish adult woman? Every chassid around him was looking to take the job, even though it was not a paying job. I mean, each family had their portion of bread they got with daily rations, and a teacher would get paid with a slice of this bread. This may not sound like a big deal, but in those days, this was a big deal. It was a substantial support for the family of the Malamed, of this teacher, who could now go home and feed and have some food on the table for his wife and children. So there was a certain local rabbi who was a good friend of Reb Chanya Morozov. He was a gaon, a genius. He was bucky, he was completely diligent in Nigla Tzidis, and he knew all of the Bavli, the Talmud of the Rishalmi, he knew all the books of Tzidis and Kabbalah and all the generations of all the Chabad Rebbeim, all the Chabad Rebbes, and he was the arranger and the printer for everything. He knew it all in the back of his hand. He was a Meirendike Baldikto. He was an unbelievable meticulous on Hebrew language. His wife was not well, and his children were not well, and he was thinking for sure that Chanya would have something that will offer him this job. So this chassid started to also, in his life, he was trying hard to make a living. He started lowering his general Hasidic standards a little, chipping away slowly at his appearance and his attitudes towards embracing a more modern type of life, modern dress, touching his beard a little bit. He put on a fancy suit, he had a fancy tie. He was starting to look a little bit more modern, hoping that it would gain him some favor in those who would offer him employment as a man of the world. So in the end, Chanya chose someone else to be the teachers for his daughters. And he was pretty upset. Now, the Mishnah says, our sages teach us, don't bear a grudge. And Chanya knew he's not going to bear a grudge. He had to go to speak to Reb Chanya, and he said, Reb Chanya, why didn't you take me? You know, I can be a wonderful teacher for your children. And Reb Chanya didn't respond. He just looked the man in the eyes. And then the man said, I understand. But you have to realize, even if I may look one way or act one way, I would make sure that your children will be taught exactly what they need to be taught. I would make sure that they'll be given this true Hasidic education that you seek for your children. And he continued to look him in the eyes and said, yeah, kind of. And he says, And then he understood that Reb Chanya was not looking for a teacher to teach and educate his children. He was looking for a teacher that will also model the education that he was giving. So this is the staff at Bnos Chaya. Not being local to Albany, obviously, Chani and I had many choices where Chaya should go to school. And Bnos Chaya's teachers and staff have proven to be dedicated to the students as true educators, not only teaching, but living the materials that were taught. You know, in these formative years of high school and a child's life, that defines and charts the future of where the child will go and continue on their lives. So on behalf of Chani and I would like to thank all the teachers, the staff, and everyone in the Albany Jewish community for welcoming Chaya in and making her feel comfortable and like at home, as she spoke about before. Thank you to all the teachers and Mrs. Leah Rubin for all your hard work and dedication that you do for the high school. It does not go unnoticed, and your hard work definitely pays off. We're going to thank you all enough for being that village that has provided the support for Chaya with great, and we were able to watch her grow with great pride, even if it may have been from a distance. Now this story, though, is not complete without mentioning, of course, Chani's sister, Razi and Mendel Rubin, and the entire Rubin and Matlis's family, and a whole extended family that she got adopted into. You guys really threw your doors open, becoming a true extended family to Chaya, and we really appreciate it. Chaya, we're very proud of you and all your hard work and your schoolwork and becoming the wonderful grown woman you are today. Mommy and I look forward to watching you grow to accomplish many more amazing things in the future. And Mazel Tov to all the graduates. Mazel Tov.
Okay, so I am unmuted now. So on behalf of everyone, I want to say thank you. You're welcome, I meant to say. You're very welcome. But from our students, we learn the most. So we are really the ones that gained and gain from teaching. Now we have a special surprise. Maura Reevy worked very hard in putting together something for our graduates, and we're looking forward to seeing what it is. So Maura Reevy, whenever you're ready, you can share your screen. And with this, we're going to conclude the evening.
Mazel Tov, graduates. I want to thank you for the privilege and honor of learning together this year, the first half a year until Purim. We had the opportunities to share and learn the actual Gemara, pages of Gemara Brachas, which is the first tractate, first Masechta of the whole Talmud Bavli. And we learned 10 pages in Masechta Brachas about the importance of davening. We learned about Filas Chana and many other very interesting things from the Gemara itself. It is a rare opportunity, and we had it to actually delve and see what a page of Gemara looks like, and how meaningful it makes our Jewish life and prayers. I was instructed by the Lubavitcher Rebbe to teach Gemara with women, and this is something that I am very glad that we were able to learn it only for the first half a year until after Purim, and may this guide you and give you confidence and familiarity with quotes of the Gemara and Talmud in your life ahead, that you should know the depth and inside story of the Gemara. Hatzlacha in your great hatzlacha and success in all your endeavors, in your educational endeavors, your academic endeavors, and in all other projects that you want to take in your life. May you be very successful. Hatzlacha, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Hi, dear graduates. Congratulations and Mazel Tov on this wonderful milestone. These weeks we read the Chumash of Bamidbar, the travels of the Jewish people in the desert, their stops and their goes, and all the things that happened. They weren't always the greatest experiences. Sometimes in our life we think that when we have good times, oh, then that is great for us. But what about the other challenging times? We might say, oh, after I graduate, I'll do this. Or after I pass this test, I'll do that. And after I, get married, I'll do this. After I have children, I'll do that, whatever it is. But know that every stop and every go is part of your trajectory. It's part of your life. It's not just the destination. It is your destination. Wherever you are, wherever you are, that is your destination at that moment. And Hashem Yachanu, Hashem Yisau, that even our stops and our goes, the high and the low, they're always with Hashem. Hashem is always with you, and you can always transcend the moment, and you can always, and even in a challenge, you can surpass that by far and become a stronger and wonderful person. I am very, very proud of all three of you, different people with different talents, but you've done amazingly well in meshing with a bunch of younger classmates and always with a smile. And I wish you all the best, that in your lifetime, and should only be with wonderful things, you have the attitude of Api Hashem, Yachanu, Api Hashem Yisrael. Whatever stop or go you're at in your life, you should feel that God put you there at that time, and that's why you're there. So, bracha v'hatzlacha to all of you. Mazel tov.
Hello, graduates of the class of 2020. Congratulations on your graduation. I know this is not how you envisioned this celebration, but as a 2020 graduate, you are incredibly special. You are moving into the next phase of your lives at a moment without precedent. Your choices over the coming years will ripple with new meaning. And as you join with others, those ripples will become a wave. Amidst everything and in the gaze of history, take heart. You stand on the shoulders of extraordinary giants. Many of you are self-isolating with them. And as you find your path, remember to honor the gifts of those many who have carried you in love and whose sacrifice has brought you here to this crossroads. Whatever you do, remember to apply your highest talents in the service of others. And wherever you go next, please dedicate yourselves to advancing the cause of justice in the communities you serve. And with that, my heartiest congratulations.
Mazel Tov graduates. I'm Rob Kovach, CEO of the Jewish Federation. Your extended Jewish community is very proud of you and your accomplishments. Worked hard in school, volunteered in our community, learning skills that you will take with you wherever you go next, whether interning for Chabad, studying in seminary here in Eretz Yisrael, or anywhere in the world. Your Maimonides Bnos Chaya education has
Mazel Tov, Chaya, Sarah, and Goldie on your graduation. I'm so very proud of you, and I hope you're proud of yourselves for your great accomplishment. I'm standing here in my garage, and a garage is a place where we store a lot of things, and we've learned a lot of things together through the course of either from all the way down from 5th grade on or from high school. Whatever it is, we've learned so many things together, so many important lessons, so much life learning, and there's a lot of things to store. And I want to give you a bracha so that everything that we learned should stick with you, should stay with you in an organized, available way, so that when you come across a time in life that you need to access these important lessons and look deep in to find, you will be able to. And remember that learning never ends, and we're rooting for you. And although this year did not end the way we expected it to, that's just one of those important lessons that we've learned together, that Hashem runs this world, and hopefully there'll be better times coming, and wish you all the best.
Huge mazel tov to the 12th grade graduates. One thing about you guys is you are totally invested in everything that you do, in your learning, in your activities, in your friendships, in all that you brought to our school, in all that you brought to our community. You are so invested, and we hope and wish for you that you be invested and transform and bring this amazing energy to every community that you're in and all that you do.
Mazel tov, Chaya and Goldie and Sarah. You guys are an amazing group. I really love teaching you all the years that I did. And just your positivity, your investment, your energy, the things that you worked on, whether it was Mishmar for the kids, or it was bake sale, or it was pizza nights, or anything like that, your fun trips together, your poetry and things that you wrote for me in your class, just everything that we did and we learned was really a true pleasure. I wish you a lot of hatzlacha in the future, and I know wherever you go, they'll be lucky to have you. You're an amazing, amazing girl.
Goldie and Sarah, it has been wonderful watching you grow and mature these past years. And of course, you should know that Every time I see you, I think of those two cute little girls sitting in my class in Kita Ella. Chaya, it's been so nice getting to know you these past 4 years. You've been a wonderful addition to our school. And I really appreciate all the tech support you gave me this year. Mazel tov, girls, and best wishes.
Congratulations on this big milestone in your lives. It has been a privilege to watch you three girls grow into beautiful young women. I want you to remember to keep learning, always do your best, and wherever you go, go with your whole heart. And most of all, I wish you joy.
Girls, you did it. You're graduating. I'm so happy for you. And to hear all about this next part of your life and all of your adventures in seminary. You three were in my very first class on my very first day of teaching. I will never forget that or all of our time together. I can't believe it's been 3 years and now you're graduating. I loved our time together. Our little mini class last year was so much fun. And our little jokes in geometry. Never forget, reason equals given. Congratulations on graduating. I hope you girls are as proud of yourselves as all of us are. I'm so happy for you. I love you and I'll miss you girls so much.
Goldie, Chaya, Sarah, Mazel Tov on your graduation. It's been amazing to watch you grow. You're all powerful women, and I can't wait to see what you will accomplish in the future. I wish you much hatzlacha, and the world is a better place because of you. So Mazel Tov. To you.
Congratulations on your graduation and congratulations on all your accomplishments. You ladies have done amazing this past year, especially in these uncertain circumstances. And I know you'll be able to take that resiliency on to all your next endeavors in life. And congratulations again.
Every once in a while, as a teacher, you come across students that completely change your life. And you will remember them for your entire career. In 18 years as an educator in both public and private school, you three have changed my life. I have had such an amazing time getting to know you guys and watching you grow into the amazing young ladies that you are. I remember you starting class with me as little timid, shy young ladies, and now I've watched you grow into amazing, independent, beautiful young women who I know are going to change the world. So, to my Sarah, my Goldichnai, and my lads, I am going to miss you like crazy. Thank you for leaving such an amazing impression on my heart and on my manatees. I hope that you come back and visit. I know it's going to be a different place without you guys there. I wish you all the best. I can't wait to come to your weddings and meet your babies. And Mazel Tov! Don't tell anybody you saw this gray hair.
Mazal Tov graduates, Goldie, Chaya, and Sarah. I'm so proud of you. You had an amazing journey. I saw you learning, studying, working very hard, growing and becoming the beautiful young ladies that you are today. I'm so happy that I was part of your journey. I really love teaching you all these years, and we have beautiful memories together. Always remember Eliezer Ben Yehuda, how we kine לפועל, לתואר ולשם, and I'm sure you remember this song pretty well. And like Eliezer, continue speaking Hebrew, reading Hebrew, and listening to Hebrew in every opportunity you have. פשוט לדבר עברית. I'm gonna miss you, and you will be missed in class and at school. I'm looking forward to hearing what the future will bring to you. Wishing you lot of בהצלחה, and remember, השמיים הם הגבול.
I need to be unmuted. My Mendel. Am I unmuted? Okay. So thank you so much, Rivi. That was beautiful. Thank you all the teachers for sharing their beautiful messages to our graduates. And thank you all for joining our Maimonides Bnos Chaya graduation 5780-2020. And we wish the graduates a lot of hatzlacha, a lot of luck, and they should go from strength to strength. And we look forward to celebrating in the very near future, not on Zoom, but in person, not even in Albany, but in Yerushalayim, Yer HaKodesh, and our holy city of Jerusalem with Mashiach now. Thank you again all for joining, and Mazel Tov Chaya, Mazel Tov Sarah, and Mazel Tov Goldie.